For Fox Sports, I'm Annabelle Stefan reporting just outside of the Westin Hotel in Birmingham, Alabama, the site of this year's SEC Media Days. We had the chance to hear from head coach Mark Fox of the Georgia Bulldogs, who spoke with us about replacing SEC Player of the Year Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, incoming freshman, as well as the physicality throughout the SEC.
You lost so much production that a lot of times you would look at that as a rebuilding year, but you talked about recruiting, planning for early departures, playing a lot of young guys. What would you describe this year as? A rebuilding, a retooling, what?
I'll go back to what I said when I came. We're trying to build a program, and until it's built, we're constantly building, and we're not built yet.
The changes in the officiating this year, some of the points of emphasis, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that the emphasis is certainly to it's going to be welcomed by me. I'll have to remind myself on game night because there's going to be more free throws, more fouls. But scoring in college basketball last year was at a 30-year low, and it's not because the players are bad. We've allowed the game to become so physical that it's really become make a three or overpower people at the rim. And so the truest forms of basketball have disappeared in a lot of ways. So I think ultimately the rule changes will be good for our game. I think that the national emphasis on it is obvious that a lot of people agree with what I think.
Frank Haynes said that he was surprised at how physical the league was when he came into it last year being his first year. Were you surprised your first time out?
I don't think I was surprised that the SEC was physical. I knew it was extremely athletic. I think all of college basketball has gotten so physical that it wasn't just the SEC or the Big Ten, it was just how the game was being played. So I don't think I was surprised by the physicality. But when you combine that physicality with the great athletes in this league, it's quite a sight.
Does that take away from the enjoyment of the game, not as a coach necessarily, but as a basketball person? That finesse seemed to be going down.
I think the game deteriorated. I mean, our game's not as popular as it was, 15, 20 years ago. I think the game is ultimately going to be better off because of the emphasis if they follow through with it.
What constitutes success? You talk about the being in the, still in the stages of building a program. At the stage you're at right now, what would constitute success at Georgia?
Well, success is measured in a lot of ways. You're going to have, obviously the measuring stick of wins and losses. You're going to look at whether or not kids graduate. You're going to look at if your team improves. You're going to look at a lot of different things. And, you're never going to be perfect. But, a success would be, having as many of those things work out favorably as we can. This is a profession in which we're in it to win and compete, and we're also in it to help young people grow and become productive people in this world. And so I think you've got to look at both.
Florida had a weapon last year in Murphy, a 6'10" guy that can step out. How much do you envision Jurassic as being maybe that kind of a guy in terms of
Eric Murphy, what a great player. I mean, he was a terrific player, a real weapon. Can Nemi be as good as him? Gosh, I hope so. But he's not quite as big as Murphy. But Eric was such a great asset for Billy, and he was fun to coach against. And I have a lot of respect and admiration for Murphy. But Nemi is, I think, a guy who can shoot the three, and we'll have him shoot the three this year, and probably a little bit more than he has in the past. And hopefully he can be, someone that can closely be compared to that.
Mark, not having Kentavious, how does that change the overall approach for your guys offensively?
No, we would have been more balanced, Jerry, if he'd have come back. We got more guys who are ready to score. We're going to miss him early, obviously, because it's going to take some time to adjust to not having him. But he was a great player. But these guys that are around him, I think, are eager to kind of chip in and do it by committee.
Do you change the style any when you lose a guy like that? I mean, will it look different on the floor?
We'll play very similar to how we have, although I think you'll see we're just more physical around the bucket. I think our frontline guys are now upperclassmen, and more experienced. And so I don't think you'll see drastic changes.
Are you happy with the size that you've got in the low post?
Yeah, I'm for the first time. We got a complement of frontline players that we're excited about. I mean, we have Nemi Juricic and Dante Williams and Marcus Thornton, who've played a ton up front. And now Tim Dixon and John Cannon are juniors, and so we've got some depth up there that we have not had before.
Contavious is obviously a talented guy that you got him, but you didn't develop in a couple of years. How much is that maybe a selling point to other recruits that you can get a guy that goes in the lottery and goes like that?
Well, I think that in recruiting today, kids want to they want to be able to go to the NBA, so it's important that you can show that. I think our history of player development is something we're very proud of. Contavious was McDonald's All-American, but from year 1 to year 2, he was a lot better player. So even a kid who's great in high school can get better in college if he goes to the right place, and so hopefully we can use that to our advantage.
Coach Juwan Parker, how do you expect him to really step up and fill Contagious's shoes?
Well, Juwan's he's off to a good start. Like most freshmen, he's a little bit overwhelmed with all that he's trying to learn right now. But he is a talented player. He's stronger than most freshmen, so I think the physical adjustment shouldn't be as big. And he and Kenny Gaines are going at it pretty good right now to try and earn that spot.
Who are some of the other freshmen that have really stepped up in preseason?
Kenny Paul-Gino's gotten off to a really good start. A freshman out of Mississippi. He's been a real nice surprise for us. And another guy who's a freshman for us who redshirted last year is Houston Kessler, whose father and uncle both played at George. And Houston will be a guy that I think can make a few plays for us.
You seen his uncle, and did you see that play or look at tape?
I've seen. There's similarities. I mean, he shoots the ball well. He's got a high release. I mean, there's some similarities, but they're a basketball family, and he's a tough kid. So we're excited to have him.
What I mean to have the Hawks around for some of your preseason and
Yeah.
preseason practices?
The Hawks were great. I think it's a great partnership that we have with the Atlanta Hawks. I think that the facility worked out really well for them, and we were able to strengthen our relationship with them, and they were very open with what they were trying to teach and what they were doing, and so it was really a good deal, I think, on both sides.
With the season just around the corner, make sure to keep it right here at Fox Sports as we continue to bring you the latest on all things SEC basketball. Reporting from Birmingham, I'm Annabelle Stefan.